Yo, what's up, universe? This is EJ back here to bring you a commentary style video. And I wanted to bring up something that recently happened with the Yu-Gi-Oh ban list and a deck that I like using, the ABC Dragon Buster deck. And this deck I've used before whenever it came to online play, real life. Used it in a few tournaments, local tournaments, of course, because I'm a scrub. But I wanted to bring light to something that just happened and that happened during the summer that I had no idea of. So, in the ABC Dragon Buster deck, there's a card that's very crucial for this deck to work, and this monster is the A Assault Core. And what it does, once per turn, you can either target one light machine monster you control, equip this card to that target, and or unequip this card and special summon it. And what's really good about this card is if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one other union monster from your graveyard to your hand. And this card is very useful because it's like a synergy. It synergizes with other cards with this deck, like the Buster B Drake, the Sea Crush Wyvern, and these just, they're very important to have 3 cards of each in your deck, because that's the limit, is 3 cards. And whenever it comes to the ban list, there's some cards that are forbidden. You can't use any. That means you can use 0 cards. And when it's limited, you can only use 1 of these cards. And semi-limited is you can only use 2 of these cards. So what happens with these cards, basically, with the A Assault Core, with the Buster Drake, or with the Sea Crush Wyvern, these cards are basically, you summon one and you bring another one out. So they synergize. Basically, you need either summon your hand, summon your graveyard, or some on the field for them to really work. And the big thing with it is to get the big fusion monster, ABC Dragon Buster, to be on your field. And it's really convenient because you can have either of these monsters in the graveyard, in your hand, or on the field, and you can bring a Dragon Buster out, and you don't need polymerization. But I really like Dragon Buster because he basically, you can discard 1 card from your hand, and then you can target any card on your opponent's side or your own side, it depends, and banish that card for good. And you can still attack with this card. So this deck is very, very easy to learn whenever it comes to getting right into Yu-Gi-Oh! Sort of, if you want to catch up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Try to get into the meta. This is a good starter deck, to be honest. I like using this a lot. It's easy to learn. It doesn't have crazy combos like meta decks. But what I like about this deck, it's so easy to learn, and it's a good deck to start out with. And I'm a noob myself whenever it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But I remember giving other people fits whenever it came to using this deck against their pro decks or their meta decks. And I'm not saying that I won all the time, but what I'm saying is I gave them a hard time if they were bricking or if I just had good synergy with this deck. So you're probably wondering, what's the problem? What's the big deal? What am I trying to make? Well, I would say after the summer, while I took a hiatus from playing or really getting into Yu-Gi-Oh, was that something big happened. And what happened was they limited, meaning you can only use 1 card. They limited the A Assault Core. And what this did was basically, I would say, nerf this deck. And I was thinking to myself, why would you even consider doing this, Konami? Like, what are y'all doing? What this does, okay, let me try to put it in a situation like this. So if you only have 1 of these A Assault Cores, you basically, it would be hard to get all of your ABC Dragon Busters, because I like special summoning like 2 or 3. You could possibly summon 2, but having a 3rd one is hard. And I just did not get the logic behind doing this. And it didn't help that they also made terraforming, which you add 1 spell, you use it, you add 1 field spell from your hand, and they brought that down to semi-limited, so only 2 terraformings you can have. And you would use this to bring in Union Hanger, and Union Hanger is one of the crucial, well, the crucial field spell to have. And you add 1 light machine monster, Union monster from your deck to the hand, and if you special summon or normal summon a light machine Union monster, you can equip a light machine Union monster with a different name to that same card. So this could bring out a lot of support and just flood the field with these ABCs. But whenever you only have 1 A, how can you really do that? And the biggest thing that people were saying why they limited A Assault Core was because the FTK, which FTK means first turn kill, that it was very prominent in this deck. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how? Because I've never ever, I don't know if I'm a noob or I just suck, but I've never had an FTK with this deck. Like, it's not a big deal considering these meta decks where these combos are so crazy and long, and you are complaining about the ABC Dragon Buster, a deck that goes way back from even the first iteration. This deck was used by Kaiba in the cartoon show, if no one knows, and it sort of holds value and stuff. And whenever you nerf this deck, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Sorry, I had to drink of water real quick. I was getting a little heated. But like I said, the first turn kill argument, I sort of get, but at the same time, you have crazy cards like Cannon Soldier. Let me tell you about Cannon Soldier if you want to talk about first turn kills, because whenever it comes to that, it's either like first turn kills going by burn damage. And let me tell you about this Cannon Soldier. You can keep on bringing this card out because it's not on the ban list at all, as you can see. But what it does, you inflict 500 damage by tributing a monster, I think, or that, I'm not too sure how it works. But you have this card, but you get rid of A Assault Core. Well, not get rid of it, but limit it. Why don't you get rid of Cannon Soldier? Like, it just makes no sense, man. It's crazy. And like I said, you probably have pro players and players who may watch this video and think, oh man, this dude knows nothing about, Yu-Gi-Oh or anything. But I think I have a good understanding of how dumb the decision was to limit A Assault Core, because think of it like this too. So there's a magic card that can be used against this, and it's called Called by the Grave. So it's like target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. So what this means is if you do send A Assault Core to the graveyard or something like that, and you try to bring it back, all they can do is use the quick effect of Called by the Grave, and that'll be the #1 target for the A Assault Core. So unless you have something that'll bring it back, like your side using the ABCs, if you have something to bring it back, then you should be fine. But if you don't, you're basically screwed the whole time, because you can't bring out your Dragon Buster because you don't have 2 other A Assault Cores, which you should have. So I just think it's I just think it's terrible that they did this, and I just don't get the logic behind it. So I was a little bitter whenever I found this out. So recently though, I noticed that they did a an update on the ban list, and I saw that they took A Assault Core off, and it's no longer on the list. You can use 3. As you can see, whenever I'm playing on a Dueling Nexus, it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh simulator, that they still have it down to 1, but they'll probably bring it back to 3, like, you can use. But I just think it should have never ever been limited, because it's, like I said, this is not an expensive deck or anything in real life. You can build this deck for cheap. And me, whenever I do online, I don't really mess with the synchros or exes. I just like playing for fun. I just use normal cards, basically, you could say. But I'm glad that it's come back. So I'll give Konami credit on that, or whoever, people who decide this. Sort of still bummed that Terraforming is still at 2 cards at semi-limited. But you know, can't complain about that. But yeah, I don't know if y'all enjoyed this rant or not. Something I had to come, it had just to come off my chest. I was just blown away how much stupidity was behind even limiting the ASL Court to 1. Made no sense to me, but now I'm glad it's back. Probably gonna go play in a tournament using this again. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like if you like the video, comment if you disagree or if you agree, or if you're part of the Pokemon community, you're probably like, what is this guy talking about? But don't worry, it's fine. I'm probably gonna make another commentary on Pokemon, on something that I was thinking about as well. And just like if you dislike the video. But thank you guys so much for the support. I am out.